Shalom, shalom, family. All right, family. So we're continuing with our DNA Basics series. All right, we're on 104. We've covered what is DNA, we've covered what is a cell, what is a gene, and now we're covering what are chromosomes. Topic number 4. So, what is a chromosome? According to genome.gov, chromosomes are thread like structures located inside the nucleus of animal and plant cells. Each chromosome is made of protein and a single molecule of deoxyribonucleic acid. Passed from parents to offspring, DNA contains the specific instructions that make each type of living creature unique. Okay, and I know in the beginning this here says nucleus of animals and plants. That also extends to humans. Your DNA is in the nucleus of your cell. And here, the term chromosome comes from the Greek words for color, chroma, and body, soma. Scientists gave this name to chromosomes because they are cell structures or bodies that are strongly stained by some colorful dyes used in research. So, just a little bit background on how chromosomes got the name chromosome. So, what do? Right? The unique structure of chromosomes keeps DNA tightly wrapped around spool like proteins called histones. Without such packaging, DNA molecules would be too long to fit inside cells. Okay? For an organism to grow and function properly, cells must constantly divide to produce new cells to replace old, worn out cells. So during cell division, it is essential that DNA remains intact and evenly distributed among cells. Chromosomes are a key part of the process that ensures DNA is accurately copied and distributed in the vast majority of cell divisions. And so here's a fact sheet provided by the National Human Genome Research Institute. Okay, genome.gov. Okay, so your cell, and then the nucleus of your cell, you got your chromosomes and your DNA and such. All right. So, how are these chromosomes inherited? Right? In humans and most other complex organisms, one copy of each chromosome is inherited from the female parent and the other from the male parent. This explains why children inherit some of their traits from their mother and others from their father. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Links to all the sources that are given in this presentation will be in the description. And if you haven't saw the last 3 videos in this series, the playlist is also on the channel, DNA Basics. All right. So scientists looking at cells under the microscope first observed chromosomes in the late 1800s. However, at that time, the nature and function of these cell structures were unclear. And how were chromosomes discovered? Researchers gained a much better understanding of chromosomes in the early 1900s through Thomas Hunt Morgan's pioneering studies. Morgan made the link between chromosomes and inherited traits by demonstrating that the X chromosome is related to gender and eye color in fruit flies. And so you'll notice in the earlier studies dealing with genetics and anatomy and all those types of different sciences, they start out by studying plants and animals first. All right. DNA Basics 105. All right. How many chromosomes do we have? So in humans, each cell normally contains 23 pairs of chromosomes for a total of 46. 22 of these pairs, called autosomes, look the same in both males and females. The 23rd pair, the sex chromosomes, differ between males and females. Females have 2 copies of the X chromosome, while males have one X and one Y chromosome. And this source is from medlineplus.gov, Genetics, Understanding the Basics, How Many Chromosomes. And these links will be in the description. Let's continue. So here's a graphic from the U.S. National Library of Medicine. All right. Just showing you a picture of the autosomes, the 22 autosomes, and the X and the Y chromosome. DNA Basics 106, which just means we're on topic number 6. Okay. What are X and Y chromosomes? All right, topic number 6. Let's dive in. So the human genome is organized into 23 pairs of chromosomes, 22 pairs of autosomes, and 1 pair of X chromosomes, with each parent contributing 1 chromosome per pair. All right. The X and Y chromosomes, also known as the sex chromosomes, determine the biological sex of an individual. Females inherit an X chromosome from the father for a XX genotype, while males inherit a Y chromosome from the father for a XY genotype. Mothers only pass on X chromosomes. And this source is genome.gov, the Y chromosome beyond gender determination. So here you can see from the National Human Genome Research Institute, they have a Y chromosome infographic. All right. And so it says here the Y chromosome of all living men is related through a single male ancestor who lived over 100,000 years ago. So 12 neat facts about the Y chromosome. I'm not sure if you guys can see that well or not. I'm going to try and make it as big as I possibly can. No, the letters look really small, but I'll read it out for you. So number 1, in the nucleus of each cell, the DNA molecule is packaged into thread-like structures called chromosomes. Okay. Number 2, most human cells contain 23 pairs of chromosomes, all right, which we already read. Now the sex chromosomes being the X and Y. Typically, biologically, male individuals have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome, while those who are biologically female have 2 X chromosomes. 4, the sex chromosomes determine the sex of offspring. The father can contribute an X or a Y chromosome, while the mother always contributes an X. And to the right of this, you can see the father, and he has his X and his Y only goes to the male children, while his X goes to his female children, and the mother gives her X to both female and male children. The Y chromosome is 1/3 the size of the X chromosome and contains about 55 genes, while the X chromosome has about 900 genes. Look at that size comparison, if y'all can see it, to the right here, when my mouse is circling. That X chromosome is huge compared to the Y chromosome. And maybe we'll get into that in another presentation. Number 6, in genealogy, the male lineage is often traced using the Y chromosome because it can only be passed down from the father. I'm going to read that again. In genealogy, the male lineage is often traced using the Y chromosome because it is only passed down from the father. All right. Number 7, all individuals carrying a Y chromosome are related through a single XY ancestor who likely lived around 300 years ago. And you can agree or disagree with that statement. The Y chromosome contains a male-determining gene, the SRY gene, that causes testes to form in the embryo and results in development of external and internal male genitalia. If there is a mutation in the SRY gene, the embryo will develop female genitalia despite having X and Y chromosomes. I'm not going to get into that last statement. That's outside of the scope of our DNA basics. 11, much of the Y chromosome is composed of repeating DNA segments. Specialized techniques are needed, sequence and determine the arrangement of these highly similar segments. All right, so they're talking about DNA sequencing, which is what happens when you send off your DNA sample, your saliva or your swab to these ancestry companies. They have a huge machine or a chip, some type of advanced technology that sequence your DNA. And this is how they're able to give you a Y chromosome haplogroup, because they've sequenced it and they've seen the repeating DNA segments on that chromosome. The infographic for the X chromosome. All right. And it's the same first two, right? The only difference is number 3 is that typically biologically female individuals have 2 X chromosomes. We already went over how they inherit the X chromosome from their father and from their mother, but the haplogroup comes from the X chromosome that you get from your mother, not your father. So I just want to make that caveat, and I will go into detail on that when I explain haplogroups. We've already read how the X chromosome is about 3 times larger than the Y chromosome.
Galaxies and universe tried everything to make it work, but we can't stop. No, we can't stop the sky from falling. Galaxies and universe tried everything to make it work, but we can't stop. No, we can't stop the sky from falling.